Hello and welcome to Game Brain, a board game podcast about our board game group. I'm Ben Mandelker, and joining me today is Paul Satachit. Hey, Paul.
It's Paul Satachit. Hey, everyone.
Hi. Wow, it's so funny. Like this time last week, we were sitting here recording for a totally different thing called Table Scraps, and now we're back at Game Brain.
Hey, we are a happy family. You know, I think that this is going to be a good thing. But
yeah.
You know, but hey, here we are.
Yeah, switch it back up into podcast land, into a proper Game Brain episode. So it's been craziness over here, absolute craziness. We are based in Los Angeles, and in case you haven't seen the news at all,
this girl is on fire.
This city is on fire. It is actually wild. It has been it has really been a very, very tense week here in Los Angeles. So one thing is that we are doing this podcast partially maybe to distract ourselves, partially to help you guys distract yourselves, and partially because it's what we do. It's what we do. But on a very serious note, a member of our board game group, Drew, lost his house in the Altadena fires, and there is a GoFundMe that is up. I can't really give the URL on the podcast only because it's not it doesn't have a nice tidy URL. But I guess if you're going to search for it, we'll put a link up in our podcast notes. And that'll be on our Discord. It's already on our Discord. But I guess if you're going to be searching for it on GoFundMe, the headline on it says, "Help Drew, quote, decon, quote, rebuild after Eaton fire loss." Drew has, we've known Drew for a few years now. We played a lot of games with him. He's a great guy. It doesn't matter if he's a great guy or if he's a shitty guy, quite frankly. But he's not a shitty guy.
But he's never yelled at me.
He's never yelled. He is a delightful person, and he had a really sweet house. So, and he lost his games, by the way. That is definitely a specific angle, as if it's not bad enough to lose your house. But I think people who listen to a board game podcast will truly understand the pain of that. So we hope that Drew, recovers quickly and speedily and can replace all those things that he can replace. I mean, given that certain things will not be replaceable, but we all want to sort of circle the wagons around Drew and help him out. And honestly, anyone else who's been impacted by these fires, it really has been terrible. So, all our hearts are with you guys tonight, and gals, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, just like that.
Yes. Trying to be as eloquent as possible in a serious moment as best I can. I'm not always good at being serious, but,
I think this is probably the worst kind of natural disaster that I've seen since the 94 earthquake.
Okay, I wasn't here for that.
And so this is definitely whereas the earthquake hit the whole region and the 10 was broken. It's
crazy to think about that.
Yeah. This is hit some more specific regions, but it was rough, but LA got through.
Well, we still have some ways to go. We're not out of it, but hopefully we can curb the destruction a bit. Our group is kind of scattered all over the place. Some people have evacuated. I had a 2-day evacuation. Then I came back. I was seems like things have settled down. And then I went crazy again. Some people are out of town. Some people are in town. So it's all over the map. So through the
different strategies
through the lens of gaming, different strategies. But today on the podcast, given that everyone's all over the map, there has been some gaming. You got to game at Tom's place on Friday, right?
I did.
And you played Francis Drake, right?
Yes, Francis Drake. I haven't played that in years. And I think Trey mentioned about this game, it's definitely a once a couple of years game, but in a good way.
Yeah. I've never played it.
I think it's great. I think it's very fun forward. Mm-hmm. I think it's accessible and it's deep enough that you are engaged such that you don't zone out. Yeah. So it has a lot of things that are fun. There are some really not nail biting is not the right word, but moments where I should do this. I came in co-last.
Okay. I like co-last. I've been in that position many times.
I feel like people crashed into me at the very last second there. I might say needlessly, but if they hadn't crashed into me, I would have been a strong third out of 5.
Was it Dimitri who crashed into you?
Dimitri wasn't there. Dimitri was wanted to be safe, closer to his mom.
Okay,
but
so you and Tom and Trey,
and Brian Baldridge and Jason.
Great.
And Jason, like, there are 3 rounds, and on the last round, he goes, "Oh, I get it. Like it took me 2 rounds, but now I get the rhythm." And then bam!
Oh, Jason, that's like a classic Jason move.
And I go like, "Dude, you don't have to do this." And he's like,
He always has like a nice smile. Jason's so nice. He's like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it." And he'll
like your score does not change at all if you do one thing.
I felt really bad. And by the way, today what we're going to do is in anticipation of the inevitable Game Brain top 10 whatever the countdown is of 2024, I've decided I'm going to do a countdown of the games that didn't make the countdown.
I love it. I love it.
You know, because every time we do a countdown, I always am trying to squeeze in more things.
I'm you're like, honorable mention.
Honorable mention, or there's a tie, so I'm going to put you in this berth or whatever. So now they are going to get their mentions now.
That's right. They're going to be honored.
Yeah. So this is a good old fashioned countdown episode. It's not like it's not the top 10 of the year, but it's the ones that didn't make the top 10.
They're worth mentioning.
They are 100% worth mentioning. But I'm going to do the spiel a little bit later when we get to it. But what I was going to say is I felt really bad because when we last played a week ago, you were trying to play SETI, and then you threw yourself on the sword and played a different game with me, and I just felt so bad that you didn't play SETI. And then on Friday night, I was like, well, Paul's going to Tom's place, so he's going to play SETI, and then you didn't play SETI, and then I played SETI on Friday night instead.
Like I wouldn't say I threw myself on the sword, but more like under the car because we're playing at Kraftwagen.
Kraftwagen. Well, we'll put a pin on that one for the moment because Kraftwagen will be something I mentioned on those lists.
They're good. Like, had you called, had you texted an hour earlier, I would have been able to say yes.
Yeah, I genuinely also was like, well, I really did think you were going to get SETI to the table at Tom's, but It'll happen. I'll play it with you. We can get some SETI going. It's a great game.
Allegedly,
you may never know. But I'm glad you got to play Francis Drake. And got your Francis Drake in for the next 2 years.
Yeah, it was very fun. I would not take back my game night.
Yeah.
Except for better games.
Except for any game that you might have wanted to play since when did Francis Drake come out, by the way? I'll look it up. Sorry, I'm asking you a question on the spot.
Yeah. It's an old game. Like, I think 7 years ago, at least.
Francis Drake. I think it was, it's from 2013. Okay, so it's...
Oh, more than that.
So 11 or 12 years ago. Okay. By Peter Hawes, who also designed the game Triassic Terror and again Royals. I think I played Royals at one point. Colonial Diplomacy. Okay, well let's just so this is all right. Francis Drake. I've never played it. Maybe I'll play it someday.
It's good. It's fun.
But there are many other games I want to play first before I play Francis Drake. A lot from this past year. 2024. I feel like 2024 was an exceptionally strong year of games. Like I watched some video or listened to some podcast where people said, yeah, 2024 wasn't an amazing year. And I literally don't understand how anyone can say that because I think there were just a number of excellent games. I feel like the drop off of quality between like my number 3 game of the year to my number 15 game of the year is actually pretty small. So I think this is such a fun year of gaming. And my question to you, Paul, before we dive into this list, what were some of your favorite gaming experiences in 2024?
So you have to remember that I am a jerk.
And also you don't have Riz.
A Rizless jerk.
A Rizless. I mean, it's one thing if you had a Riz.
That's right. Joke. And so, like, when I think of my moments of play in 2024, where I go like, oh, this is going to be a good memory or whatever. It's almost always someone getting the shaft.
Okay. Where's this going? Where's this going?
Of course, I have to.
There's one thing we have to acknowledge.
Low hanging fruit would be Twilight Imperium.
Considering there were multiple Twilight Imperiums,
yes, exactly.
The Twilight Imperium game.
Well, there too, and both of them had very big blow ups at me,
at you, Paul.
So, like, I'm not saying it's a trend. At least it's a coincidence. Now, 2 points is a coincidence. Like there's a third. Anyway, so there was, of course, the Twilight at Matt's where
Cassie yelled at you.
Cassie eviscerated me.
Yes.
But we are good.
And honestly, that was a wonderful day of gaming.
100%.
It was a great day. Like that whole day. And that
burgers and hot dogs.
Chocolate, an amazing chocolate cake.
Like Ben almost gave me a heart attack with his espresso laced chocolate cake.
It was one of the best chocolate cakes I ever made in my life.
It was great. But I just remember we've had the cake, an hour later I go like, Ben, was there like espresso in that?
Espresso, by the way.
Espresso. And then you go, oh, yeah. I go, oh, okay, that's good. Because I thought I was having a heart attack. Because I ate a lot of that cake.
The cake was so good. And I put sprinkles on it to make it look like the universe.
And so that I didn't die. And then I think a few months later, we played the infamous game.
Yes.
So if you talk
about a wildfire.
Yeah, talk about it. If you're interested there, if you just go back in our Discords, you will find quite the...
Yeah. No need to add to that. I mean, you can. It might be fun. It might be hilarious if it flares up yet again. But that was a big controversy in our group. That was like our Q4 controversy.
Yeah.
Was where do you stand on the great Twilight Imperium Paul versus Jordan?
Paul v. Jordan. That's
debacle.
Right. Yeah, and so I mean, how can you not? But those
yeah. And I would like to add on to as long as we're talking about if we're in the Twilight Imperium space, I mean, generally speaking, Twilight Imperium is almost always going to land in like best experience of the year because there's always stories. I really loved that day in the summer with the Cassie session because there was the cake.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think my favorite session of all was in October when I held like a Twilight Imperium workshop.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Where I invited people who never played it and people who you wouldn't think would ever play it, like Dimitri, Trey, and we sat there and I made an ice cream cake in an attempt to make I attempted to make an ice cream cake that looked like a war sign, and instead it just looked like a giant COVID virus blown up in a microscope.
A 3D model.
Yeah, it looked bad. It was delicious, but it was actually such a fun night because even though we only played, I think, 2.5 rounds of Twilight Imperium, there was something so fun of just people gathering together. We ate pizza, we had ice cream, and we took it at such a leisurely pace. It just was
the way it should be played.
It was such a fun vibe. It just felt like it's just a great way to spend a Friday night. Like no sane person should ever start Twilight Imperium at 9, which is when we started. But we did, and we had fun. And then at 1, everyone's like, "Okay, we're done.
We got it.
It was great. Yeah, it was a great night."
Another one of my favorite moments. This ranks pretty high. Is we're playing Atlas, and then I do something, and then pop Ben is out like almost like round 2 or something. Like it was quick.
It was faster than you could ever imagine. I have never bankrupted myself from a game so quickly. I've bankrupted myself only a few times, but especially like that game. And that game is supposed to, you're not.
You should be able to do that.
You're not supposed to.
It's an achievement.
It's like this is a game that's like supposed to be like nice for beginners, and I fully bankrupted out of a game, and this game was gonna be the cornerstone of our entire game day.
Yeah, and so we played that happened, and it wasn't the fact that that Ben bankrupted himself, although that was funny. What was really funny was that we go, should we start over? And then there are people that are like, oh, we
could say John, John's cool. Like, we've given John guff about it, but some people are like, oh, maybe. And then John's like, I want to see how it goes. And I was like, oh, okay.
And so, like,
and by the way, and I was actually okay with it because I was like, you know what? It's my own fault.
Oh, yep.
This will be fun to watch. It won't take that long. And I'm going to, I actually am a weird person that I can sit and enjoy watching other people play 18xx. I weigh in, I'll chime in with stuff.
To a point. and then there was a point where like you could see in Ben's face like, I want to play a game now.
I'm like, okay, now I've been on the sidelines for 2 hours and now we're about to have dinner. And I was like, I thought I'd be cool with this, but I realized it was like Labor Day weekend. And it was like, I had kind of like sort of for a week been looking forward to this like game day. And I do think I want to play something. So, and I was like, can we stop the game? And poor John, John was excited because he had just like turned the corner on a strategy and was like,
yeah, but I thought that was like the most human, like the human journey of like, oh, I can do this. And he goes, oh no, I can't do this.
I couldn't.
And I love it. It was so beautiful to me.
I tried my best. I mean, like, again, like I have no problem playing 18xx from a losing position, like when we played 21 Moon, and I was essentially out after the first round, and I was like, well, the challenge has begun. I'm playing a new game now where I'm going to see if I can be impactful and maybe even cause enough chaos that I can rise up, because it has happened before.
It has, yeah, no.
So
like you are the master of the sneaky.
But I was a failed sneaker on both those games.
Well, once you're out, you're out.
I was actually well, because the thing is this: I also thought the game was going to end, and it didn't end.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah. Like another thing is like, surprisingly, every game of Rise and Fall that we played, I've loved. I've loved.
You've loved. I didn't think you loved it.
Well, the game itself is fine. But like every
I see the sessions.
Yeah, that's right. So the first session we played Rise and Fall. I don't know how to play. No one knows how to play. Like some people know the rules better. And I put my place one something down, and then Jordan puts right next to me and it kind of blocks me.
Right. To be fair, you had also done the exact same thing to me. Like I had put something down, you put something next to me.
Like my response would be, one of us was more critical than the other.
Yes. But in both cases, my game was not ruined by it, but your game was basically
it was destroyed. It was
destroyed, and you had to spend 2 hours moving stuff around.
But what I love about that game was not the fact that Jordan hamstrung me, which was great. It was a good move on his part. But that Matt did this degenerate strategy with the boat. I was going like, oh, you're cheesing this, Matt. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, like that was very funny, and like I had a sort of a vaguely similar situation, which I talked about 2 weeks ago on the podcast when I played Age of Rail South Africa, which by the way I said on the podcast was a Cran Rails game, and then I described a Cran Rails game without really knowing what I was talking about, and I think I got it all wrong, and I apologize. You know what? Sometimes I talk out of my ass, and by sometimes I mean every single episode. So everyone should be used to it by now. But I got in that game. Matt and Jordan, it's not that they like really conspire, but they sort of conspire. Either way, they like cut me out like right away.
Sure.
And some people would have just said like, well, there's no more game left for me. But I was like, degenerate strategy. Here I come. Yeah, and I did it and I won and I was so happy.
It was beautiful. And like, I just don't oftentimes see Matt do it. Like, because it was a really cheesy way to win. I think like
he just kept on getting money from boats.
Money from boats. And none of us had enough experience to really stop this strategy. And it was just hilarious. Like it was a huge money strategy. It was great.
Yeah.
I think the next 2 times I really enjoyed playing it because David Gilson was there. Mm-hmm. And every single time he was like he throws his hand. This is not, I hate this game.
Oh, yeah. Classic Gilson.
And the first time he did it, he like I didn't understand it. And then the second time I got back at Jordan, and hit David at the same time where like I made one super placement that like basically the game was over.
Yeah.
And we played for like 2 or 3 rounds and we're like, this is it, guys.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was good. And lastly, the last game that sticks in my memory is when we played that poker game with you.
The gang.
The gang is right. And I was like, you have to understand, we were playing like this was the last game of we had played
Gaia Project.
Yes.
With the expansion, the Lost Fleet, and we had finished at like 12:55, and we decided to play the gang at like 12:57.
It was a full night of gaming, and then Ben goes, "Oh, well, it's fine. I go to poker night."
Well, because I am part of a gay poker league. I just haven't gone in many years. But but the question was sort of like, do you play poker? It's a game like poker. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I'm in a poker league, meaning that I understand poker. I've played it before, and not at a competitive Jennifer Tilly level, but
Sure. And I suppose this was me watching anti-wavelength. It's like Trey and Ben at the complete wrong frequencies.
Right, but the thing was, I was trying to get on the frequency, and Trey was merely saying, "This is what the frequency is. Are you coming? Are you going to get on or not?" And I was like, "I think I followed the rule you just told me." When I messed up last round, I think I followed every single round. I was like, "Okay, well, I had a pair of 8s, and I figured that since I got yelled at last round because I played a pair of numbers instead of I should have played face cards or said that was number. I was like, and they're like, no, of course. Well, after someone plays a 2 and a 3, it's always obligatory you announce the 8 or whatever it was. I just remember just being like,
I don't think I've ever seen you so frustrated / flustered as far as
really annoyed.
And then I don't think I've seen you visibly mad at the moment, I've seen you mad post.
And at that time I was thinking to myself, Paul's loving this but you know what though, I was like, I'm not gonna try to hide how I feel right now, because also it's a testament to how I feel about you guys. I feel totally comfortable with you guys to be as this is what I'm feeling, and knowing that no one's going to take it as anything.
Just a moment. That's right.
And it's not going to go beyond the gang. To me, it was a very funny moment.
It was like, mwah.
I was getting so mad at Trey. I was getting so mad at him. You don't even know. I was like, I don't understand the nuances of poker strategy.
I'm trying over here.
And Trey was getting mad. He's like, well, you said you were in a poker league. I was like, just because you say you're in a poker league does not mean you're good at it. But that's there's certain people who could say that they're in a game group. Doesn't mean that they are necessarily good at playing games.
100%. And so, but these are just some of my top memories. But 2024 has been a really good year as far as
memories.
Just creating moments and stuff like that. Things I care about, and the games have been really good.
Yeah.
So
I would have to add on to that. I had a really this stuck with me all year. It's so funny the random games the sessions that stick with you, which is that I had this great session of Cuzco that I played with Chris Bussey and Tom and Dimitri, and it was such an intense game, and I had such a strange group chemistry going on. You had Tom, he started 4th, and I think there was little to no compensation for not being star player. So he was complaining right away. And then he kept on, he was like, oh, so I see, I got it. So I'm starting 4th. And then I also, I'm last to pick from the thing that's most important in the game. Got it. Doing one of those things.
I'm not gonna lie, man. That's a spot on impression. Well done.
And I was like, Tom, I trust it'll be okay. He's like, no, sure, no, I have no problem. It's just that I'm starting 4th, and you all are getting access to the spots first, and I'm not, and I'm at a disadvantage. But sure, no compensation for me. He kept on doing it over and over again. And by the way, guess who won the game? Tom. And then he changed. Then he's like, well, I was just joking. I was just playing a part there for the banter. I was like, sure, Tom, sure. But then, he wound up winning, and then Chris was playing this really cutthroat game. Well, because Chris was being cutthroat, Tom was being cutthroat, so I had to be cutthroat. So every single thing mattered. And then Dimitri was off in his own land. He could not figure out the rules, despite every single round me saying the same rule to him. He's like, and these 2 dice, they can go here. No, Dimitri, no. And the thing was that because it was so cutthroat, every time Dimitri asked a question, a perfectly benign question, I was literally losing my mind. I was like, I can't do this right now, Dimitri. I told you in the rules, pay attention to this part. Pay attention.
I love it.
And everything was fine. We went out to Swingers afterwards, remember? Yeah. And we had grilled cheese. But it was so intense that when it all shook out, it was kind of and it was great.
Yeah.
It was one of those things I was like, actually, that in the moment, I was like, this is I'm probably going to lose my mind because it's so intense. And then the fact that when you come out the other end, you're like, that was actually an amazing experience.
No. Sometimes you get you get more endorphins from like getting through the suck than sometimes you're like, just a foot rub,
Yeah, I mean, Cusco really is like, by the way, for those who don't, Cusco is like the Bora Bora City Collection revamp from Queen Games by Stefan Feld. And I also had other warm memories. There was another game of Railways of the Lost Atlas. We played a makeup sesh at my place since I bankrupted out of that one session. And we had a very it was a long day with you, me, Stacy, John, and other John. And what was great about that game was there was also a moment where there was a really fraught moment with the stock round. And Railways of the Lost Atlas, which is an 18xx
Oh, yeah,
game.
that's where I lost my mind.
Yeah. But what was interesting is that the 18 Railways of the Lost Atlas is really known as an operational game where what matters the most is what you're doing with the map and how you're running your company, is less so the stocks. You can do stock shenanigans in it, but the game's really that's not the emphasis. But we had a round where there were stock shenanigans. I don't even remember the details of it, but it was like we needed to do something. It was it was very specific. Like we all needed to sell shares to tank someone's value in a specific way. And if we all did that, we would have a chance. Some of us would have a chance to dethrone Other John. Other John looked like he was going to win, 100% going to win. And the only way for any of us to have a shot was if the rest of the table sold their stocks in a very, very specific way, and it was going to plan. But then John Prime suddenly flinched. It was wild.
It wasn't flinch. Here's the thing that, as I remember it, John's not Prime, was going to get access to the Infinity train.
Yes.
And he's going to have enough money. And he was already in the lead. And he also had track that was not blockable. So it was going to be a bad thing for him to get it for free or for the $400 discount.
Yes.
As opposed to having to pay full freight. And all we needed to do was basically coordinate hey, here's what we're going to do. We just sell his stock. He won't have enough to buy this train, and then someone else will get the train. I don't care who gets the train, but someone else can get the train. And John Prime, his last name isn't Prime, but
it's fun to call him that.
He is a very principled person.
He was also in the famous Twilight Imperium game, I'd like to add.
That's right. And he was also the cause of your I would like to play more games, please.
And he was like, no, thanks.
So he's very principled. And one thing he doesn't like is collusion. That kind of collusion is...
He doesn't. John does not like collusion.
He feels I believe, from my discussions though, he feels that is not in good sportsmanship play.
Yeah.
And maybe so, maybe not. I don't know. It is, but but
we're not here for sportsmanship,
that's
baby.
Right, that's right. And so there's a point where I finally break through. I go, okay, John, here's the situation. You have to see this, right? This is not just a matter of collusion. This is a matter of it makes it so everyone else has a chance, including you. And I brokered this deal that blah blah blah.
It was such a complicated deal that I think I remember stepping away to cook something or get something or do something, and when I came back, you had finally figured it out.
And so ultimately, we do the deal, and then at the end of it, and then we move to the next phase. I go, oh, I miscalculated.
Yes.
And I go I actually, if I do this deal, I'm going to screw you, John.
Yes.
And then you can see him he is a pale Caucasian man, and you could see that his face was turning red.
He turns red,
just like a cartoon.
In 18xx, there's the yellow phase, the green phase, the brown phase. We entered the red phase at that moment.
And I was going oh, this is what's going to happen if I screw John right here. this is not just going to impact this game. It's going to devastate any credibility.
Absolutely.
For every interaction. Hey, John, can I borrow $1? No.
Yeah. No. It would have scarred.
Yeah. This would not be good for the friendship. And I go like, hey, I made a mistake. I will not do this thing. I will abort the plan in order to preserve our friendship. And his response was like, okay, I can accept that.
Yes, that's right. Wait, but I thought there was also a situation where like we all had to sell John.
We did.
John's, but he decided not to at one step and threw everything into chaos. Chaos, you can't imagine, like the best reality show chaos. And actually, now I remember why I had so much fun with that. I know this is like a little navel-gazing, but if I remember correctly, I was in some sort of position. I had hit hard times.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to like, John was going to run away with, I was like, I think I'm in third place. I don't remember where it was, but I had to inject chaos into the game so that way I could rise above. And I did, because everything was going ho hum. And then I said something, whatever it was like, well, actually, the truth is you all should sell like John's stock. I said something where I put a corrosive thought into your brain.
Well,
and then it,
well, if it means anything, you start like, I believe what happened is that you said it and it was going to hurt me to John Prime. And I was trying to sell John, the other John's stuff. And then like John was like, oh, well, Paul's going to get this thing and I don't want him to get it.
The point, ultimately, regardless of what happened, the point was I needed to do like a master stroke of like social gameplay at that moment, and I did, and it went chaotically. And did I win that game? Or
I don't know. If
I think my victory was just that
I think
the table in chaos for an hour.
Like you,
I can look it up.
Yeah, I think you wound up really elevating your position. I don't know if you actually won.
I had to do like a Hail Mary. My Hail Mary is I needed. Oh, I think I think it was a separate thing that I also said that someone had to start up a company, or maybe I started. I don't know what it was. Honestly, it doesn't even matter. Yeah. There's probably an episode about it, but all I know is that
you won.
Socially I won, and I was proud of that.
It was great. It was great. It was the exact thing that needed to happen for you. Like, because I had a shot. Like I was thinking I'm doing pretty well. Like I'm not in the exact rhythm right now, but this infinity train will change that.
Mm-hmm.
And then boom, I'm stuck with like a 5 train. That's the end of my game. I'm just stuck with a 5 train.
It was truly so wonderful. I'm trying to look up I'm trying to look up the session, because I always save my sessions here. And it's hard to sometimes look up. Oh, here it is. Oh, John did win. John Crow won. So, but I won because I created chaos, and that made me happy.
Like, no, it's secondary win.
Yeah,
and I got my second one because I was losing my mind. I lost the mind that I blocked that out until you just reminded me. I was like, oh,
it was so fun.
I had a great time. That said, like I was so like I had to go to Stacy. Like, did I break my relationship with Judd? Like, because I was like, oh, because I'm pushing pretty hard here, and I can push harder. But like I've seen people see me break things, and I don't want to break your boyfriend.
Well, you're really good about that, because I think you're really good about seeing, like, at a certain point you have to pay attention to what you call the larger game of game night, but just sometimes you do have to pay attention just to the people that you're playing with. And that's something I don't think I was as good at doing when I was younger. And I think that I've gotten better at that, although who knows, maybe the shark eyes come out. But like that was a moment, though, I think you did the right thing, because I think that you could have broken something there.
Yeah,
for sure. So again, gaming highlight of the year, when you almost broke a friendship.
Yeah, again. Like that's 3, in 1 year. Come on, guys, that's pretty good.
So in the meantime, since I pulled out my BGG Stats app, one thing that I did at the top of the year is I set myself up a 10x5 challenge.
Yes.
And I'd like to report on my results.
Please. I would like to hear your report.
Now, I think that last year I was ridiculed by a fellow host of the show. It was really just Tom. He was razzing me. He was saying, like, do you understand? He said something along the lines of, like, last year I had a 10x10. I think. And Tom was like, 10 by 10. Do you know how hard it is just to do a 4 by 4? You shouldn't even do he was basically saying like,
don't.
So then I was like, you're right. 10 by 10 is too much. But I said I'm going to do a 10 by 5.
Yeah, there you go.
So I will tell. Now, I kind of was a little loosey-goosey in that I kind of loaded up several games into my 10 by 5. It was really like a 13 and seeing if I could get 10 of them.
Just go for it.
Okay. So here are the ones I did get to do. I had Cusco on there, which I just mentioned. I got 4 out of 5 plays.
That's disappointing because you're a very big fan of Cusco.
Yeah, I was so close to getting that last one. And actually, I feel bad because Tom has wanted to play it ever since then, and
the one he
not
won?
been able to. That would have been the one. I've been carrying it around in my board game bag all year long because I'm like, well, I know I'm gonna play this with Tom at some point. Fields of Arl I put on there. I only got 4 out of 5, which is my own fault because I could have just gone on to Yukata and done a solo game.
Yeah.
That's my own fault. Gaia Project, 5 out of
5, baby.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. The Lost Fleet really helped that.
It did. But that's a big game to get to the table 5 times.
Yeah, no.
Kudnahora, I only got 3 out of 5, which makes me pretty sad because Kudnahora is one I really enjoy exploring that game. I think that game is wonderful. Like, it is an excellent game. I think it's a triumph of design.
I've never gotten through it. Like as far as like understanding it.
That's what makes it so great. I think it is actually such a nuanced, unknowable game. But there's like so many things going on in it. I think it's great. Marrakesh, my favorite Feld.
Well, you didn't get 5?
I did 4. Because you know what? It hit. I got it in December of 2023. So it was sort of cuspy. So I got I got 3 or 4 plays in on 1 year.
I see. Okay.
Railways of the Lost Atlas.
7?
I hit all 5. Do you want to know how many plays of Railways of the Lost Atlas I got all year?
Sure. Yeah.
That one I think I got 11 plays in.
Oh yeah. Like that's you were gonna get that one.
Yeah. Here's a little bit of a cheat. Shackleton Base, I added that in, which I feel like you're not supposed to add things in.
Sure.
You know, especially not like 10 months in. But I got 5 out of that. The big true accomplishment, the jewel.
Yeah.
Twilight Imperium.
Yeah.
5 plays of Twilight Imperium in 1 calendar year.
That is crazy.
And I had a run of playing it every 2 weeks for like over the summer. It was good. That made me deeply happy. Sky Mines was on there, got 0. Twa was on there, got 0. Food Chain Magnate was
0.
Originally in it, got 0, and I think it got bumped. And I actually put the cost on there, 0. City Hall, 0. So
it's mixed year,
but like totally, I played 35 games on that, which
35 games on your list
on the 10 by 5.
Yeah,
so like 35 out of 50 is actually like. I'm like very proud of myself.
Good job.
In this challenge that means nothing in the world.
No, it means everything.
It means everything. Thank you.
Yeah.
Felt like everything.
I'm not just proud of you. No, that's it. I'm just proud of you.
Thank you. That's all it is. I'm just fishing for validation this podcast. Like, wasn't it great when I caused that chaos? Wasn't it great when I played 35 games of my challenge?
You are so amazing.
That's all I want. I just want validation. Okay, everyone. Now it's time.
We're here. Drum roll.
Okay, so it is time to talk about games 25 through 11. My 25 through 11.
I did not actually make a list of the games I played this year, so because
I thought like it would actually be too long and maybe too annoying if we were like swapping lists. Like you played like this is my 25.
So I'm here for color commentary, everyone.
Paul is here truly for color commentary, and I'm here for your judgment.
Great, because
your judgment is like I think it should have been higher than that. I think it should be lower than that, or that's about right. Mm-hmm. So I want you to make me. I want either validation or shame about my choices.
Sure. Oh, okay. Validation or shame.
Yeah.
Like there's only one mode for validation, which is like you did it right.
Thanks.
Up or down, like it's shame.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Wait, you see how you set your mental health up for failure?
Yeah. No. Listen, this is going out onto the internet. There will be so much shame coming from all different sides.
Yeah, there you go. Like
and actually, what's so funny is, by the way, everyone should join the Game Brain Discord. But there was a really amusing discussion about negative takes on board games that some people online really feel like board game content creators generally seem to be very positive, or don't aren't as critical as like maybe a movie reviewer is, etc. So maybe I won't be as positive about certain titles that people might expect certain positivity about.
Yeah, it's tough because like when I was in Australia, I wrote a food guide, and the theme of it was like, imagine you're a friend, you're the foodie friend, and they come to town, and you give them, where you should go, where you shouldn't go, and there were some positive reviews, some less than positive, and it occurred to me that like, oh, I'm impacting someone's bottom line, and games is not as robust as say Paramount. So,
correct. And games is hard because a lot of times the designers are very active in BGG, which is where all the negativity would usually wind up. So you sort of know it's going to like a person's really going to hear it and consider it. Well, and also like gaming is very social. So like you can go to a restaurant on your own that someone else might not like, but you can just still go there. Whereas with gaming, you're really impacting someone's ability to actually have the fun that they want.
Yep.
You could play a game solo, but so that could be another episode. Negative takes. So here come the usual disclaimers. The first one, blah blah blah. I haven't played every game. Blah blah blah. Specifically,
he's played every game on this list because that's the requirement.
Yes, there are certain games the games that I still did not get around to. Stress Botics, I really wanted to play.
I've never heard of that.
It's like some crazy heavy game.
Okay.
Rasafa. That's by Vladimir Suchi. I don't know how you say his name. There's debate amongst people. I haven't played it. I'm a big fan of his. Bomb Busters. I still haven't played it. I mentioned a lot of these games several times over the past few weeks. Still haven't played Bomb Busters. Haven't played Landmarks. Haven't played Minecart Town, which looks really cool to me. Beyond the Horizon, which is like the medieval revamp of Beyond the Sun. Unconscious Mind almost got played, and then it just didn't. I did not get to play it a few weeks ago. Harmonies never got to play. Slay the Spire. Dune War for Arrakis. Dune War for whatever. All the Dune Imperium. All the Dune stuff. Did not play.
Yeah, well, you'll be okay.
I think I will be, but I do aspire to try them. And the Lord of the Rings stuff I haven't played, so I know that's like, so meaning that like if you hear my list and you don't hear those games, like I understand your frustration with me with the gaps as a reviewer, but I just haven't played it. What can I say? What can I say?
Just ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Given Ben's list, where would he think these? Where would you put these games? You
never know, because like they don't really seem like my games, but then out of nowhere, one of those games is totally my game.
Sure.
Like that, like Forbidden Stars, I love it. So, all right. So let's start with number 25, Captain Flip. Did you play Captain Flip?
I did not.
It's a light family game. It's actually really fun. It's a really fun, quick 20-minute game. You laugh. You flip things around. You play. There's pirates. There's birds. It's a good time. It does not outstay its welcome. I think it's just like it's super. It's a lovely fun romp, and then it's done. It's great in that way.
Ben, I think you achieved a neutral.
Okay,
good
neutral.
Job. Good. That it should be 25.
Okay, 24. Middle Ages. Did you play that one? That was a revamp of for the realm Middle Ages.
I don't think I did.
Here, Middle Ages. This is one that could go up.
The artwork.
It looks like that.
Oh, I definitely did not.
It's Majesty for the Realm. The other disclaimer is like, obviously, these can all go up and down.
It's just one very handsome man's opinion.
Well, no, but also I do want to get more plays of a lot of these games.
Sure. 100%.
Like Middle Ages, I could see totally going up. I had a really fun time playing. I only played it once with Jordan and Matt. I really, really enjoyed it. It's like a light, fun game. It was also very much a romp. I enjoyed a lot of what it did. I loved its art. I'm sure with future plays it might go up, but I think 24, being number 24 is
fair.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Are we ready for my first pick? That's gonna make people probably mad by how low I put it.
Love it.
Inventions by Vital Lacerda.
Wow.
Number 24.
Wow. Okay.
I think there are 23 better games than Inventions.
No,
this year.
that's the definition of why it's 24.
Yes. When I played it, I liked it. I liked it more than Weather Machine. But I felt like it was it was forgettable to me, but only one play. Only one play, but that one play was like, there was cool stuff, chaining things. I did very well. I almost won. I was only like 2 points away. But I didn't think, I don't know, like it didn't, the theme did not connect with me. It felt like, I don't know, like it was fine. But you like it though.
I've played a couple. I would make this higher. I played it a couple times.
You're saying I should be ashamed.
Shame.
Yes.
Shame. But to be fair, like I think one of the reasons why I enjoy this game is because I played with Elder for a couple of them, and he really likes the game, and he could not stop cussing me out.
Oh, that's fun.
So, and he's not normally that way.
Wait, I played with Elder also. Maybe it was maybe he was after his cussing phase. I played with you, Elder, and Jordan.
He's not a cusser. He's a cusser at me.
Okay. You were not accustomed to that.
They're boom.
But I
Shame.
I seem to remember you really liked Inventions.
I did.
Yeah.
I understood it.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately Elder was rhythmically like a little after me. And so I kept on, stymieing him. Got it.
Yeah. There was stuff I remember thinking that I enjoyed it. And I definitely got that vibe of, with a good Vital Lacerda game, when the clouds part and you start to see the sunshine, you start to understand things. You're like, oh, you have that fun moment. But to me, it is like nowhere near like the highs of like a On Mars or Kanban or even hot take. I really enjoy CO2. I really do. Okay, number 22. I put
hot take. I like that.
Yeah, that was actually not a pun was not intended, but it's impact over.
That's intention. Right. Global warming is real. Climate change
is real. It is real, people. Number 22. On the Underground, Paris and New York.
You love that series.
I love the series.
I'm actually surprised you have it so low.
I'm a little surprised too. Well, I haven't played the New York side of it, but I played the Paris map, and I thought the Paris map was like a little disappointing. It was hard to use. It was hard to read things. And the passenger only doesn't move quite as much as other ones, or I guess it's like, it just has a different rhythm that I was not totally like. I didn't love the new rhythm, but I enjoyed a lot of the new things that added to it. For those who don't know, the On the Underground series, it's like the original one came out like 2009. Then it was a re-release in 2017 or 18. And you're basically building subway lines and you're trying to get this passenger to take your subway. And it's just really fun. And it's a great gateway game, but it's also a game that I think I shouldn't say serious gamers, experienced gamers could get really into. Yeah. So it still is incredible fun, but I was hoping it'd be a little bit better than what it was.
I'll say you've hit your mark.
Yeah. I also think that's like also an appropriate space for number 22. Sure. I don't think it didn't like reinvent too many things. Are you ready for number 21?
No, I'm not.
I am going to lose a lot of credibility with certain people when I say this.
Okay, here we go.
There will be people who will be mad at me. There'll be people who will write vicious things about me. They'll write paragraphs on Discord, maybe even BGG. That would be the dream.
Sure.
Maybe on YouTube, talking about how I'm full of shit and I don't know anything. And how dare I on just 2 plays put this game all the way down.
You do like to be a contrarian.
21. I don't like to be a contrarian. I just am open to being it.
Yeah.
Do you have any guess on what my number 21 is?
No.
You don't have a single guess.
I don't like. There's a lot of games.
Okay, fine. My 21st best game of 2024 is Arcs.
Bam, bam, bam.
Listen.
Shots fired.
Listen, it is not my number 1. It's not in my top 10. Okay. Now, because it's Arcs, you have to do this preamble because God forbid you don't do it. But I've only played Arcs twice. I played basic version. I played Leaders and Lore. I have not played the campaign. I would like to play the campaign. I would also just like to play Arcs more. I would like to see I want to feel the things that people are feeling and do all the things. But at just 2 plays, I just have to say, I don't understand why people are literally losing their minds for this game. I think it's a perfectly fine, entertaining game. I don't know why people are saying not only is this the best game of the year, but it may be one of the best games of all time. Yeah. And I don't take that away from them. And I'm actually jealous that I don't have that feeling. I think it's great that people feel that way. I just don't get it. Like, I don't see where it comes from. I'm like, I think the like the sort of the trick taking esque gameplay is really cool. Mm-hmm. The map play is fun. Like, everything's like fun and fine. I don't see why this is like, you know, that this is like the thing. But I'm open to it being the thing. You know, Arrested Development. It took me 2 times to get into it, and then on the 3rd time is when I was like, oh wait, this is the best comedy of all time.
So what you just said could be verbatim transposed to me in Indian food.
Oh, okay, great.
Like because people love Indian food.
Me,
blah blah blah. You know. I just don't understand it.
It just does not click with you, and it's fine for things not to click with things. But I feel like with arcs, if you like, I feel like people are just so serious about arcs. They're so like, and Cold Whirly,
like Indian food,
and but Cold Whirly games, I don't know. It's like what I think. I think something, and I hope this is not inflecting my feelings of arcs, although it probably is. Yeah, is that like if I play a game that I love, and then you play it, and you say, yeah, it was fine. It didn't really speak to me. I don't think I want to play it anymore. You know, it's like, fine. But if I say that about arcs, it's like, well, you've only played it twice. Well, you have to play it like 5 more times. And like, there's this obligation to give arcs like 5 plays, whereas other games, people are fine to be like, no, I played it once.
Let me ask you this though. Imagine we're in an alt universe where arcs is made by someone who isn't Cold Whirly.
Yeah.
And you play it. Do you think possibly 2 times, possibly that it would be ranked higher? Because
on my list, no, I don't think so.
Because you tend to be anti Cold Whirly.
I'm not. It's not that I'm anti Cold Whirly. It's just I have not really connected with those games, and so the arcs I actually connected with probably maybe the most.
Yeah, 100%. I can see it.
I mean, I've always had there been elements I've enjoyed of those games. I enjoyed the thematic stuff with John Company and everything. I just felt like a lot of the stuff was fussy. Mm-hmm. Arcs I actually don't think is that fussy, and I think it's cool that it's complicated. But what I don't see is what makes it transcendent. That's all. That's all. I just don't see that, and I don't penalize it for that. I'm just saying I had a nice time with it, but that's why it's only at number 20.
No, I get it. I get it.
21. But again, that being said, I will play it more because even though if I tell someone to play El Burro, and they say I played it once, it was fine, even though I won't say like, oh well, you got to play it 4 more times. I respect that with arcs, enough people are losing their mind over it that I need to get with the program on some level.
Well, or not. There are a lot of games out there. You don't have to like everything.
I don't have to, but I would like to at least understand what gives it that X factor. That like all time, a generational game.
Like I'm going to say that like you may never understand. In fact, I doubt you will ever understand. I don't understand, but I don't think that. I think sometimes games, just like anything, food, anything, like some people it resonates with people and it doesn't resonate with others.
Yeah,
like. I accept that. Like, I try to at least, like some of my favorite movies, like Notting Hill. I think it's a masterpiece.
Oh, Anna Scott. I wonder what game she would play. Do you think she'd like arcs?
But like, I can see how people like, don't like Notting Hill. And, people lose their mind that I wouldn't think lose their mind with like, say, like Love Actually.
Oh, yeah. By the way, if it makes anyone feel better, I don't like Love Actually.
It makes me feel better.
Yeah, I just want to say that like it's not just arcs that I'm like this about.
but I have people like like people like that I would not expect go like like macho men go like, oh yeah, Love Actually, really.
I hated Love Actually.
Like B and I walked out of the theater. Goes, what was that? Like working title really just like didn't try. This was a money grab. And I swear, like there are people go, oh my god, that's my favorite movie. Blah blah blah.
And you don't take it away from them. I just don't.
I do.
Fine, then I take it away from everyone who loves ARCs. No, you can all love ARCs. I haven't gotten there yet. I might never get there, and that's okay. But I had to come out of the ARCs closet.
Yeah. I mean,
I was barely in the ARCs closet, but I think I was being very polite about ARCs, and now I'm like, guys, I'm sorry, I just don't get it. I don't get it. No, but me not getting it is me not getting hype. Yeah. And that's different than enjoying the game. And the game I did. I did enjoy the game.
You have an understanding and appreciation for the game.
Yeah.
It's just like you didn't understand how people were shooting up,
I don't understand how like it's just, and the thing is this, now that I've said this, no one's going to want to play with me. No one's going to want to be like, Ben, I'm going to show you the campaign. They're going to be like, oh.
No, I don't know. Like I'm a person who doesn't really drink coffee. But like in my youth, people would always go like, "Oh, you just haven't tried X coffee, this coffee."
Well, it's like also like alcohol. Mm-hmm. I remember when I was younger, I was like, "Ugh, like it's gross." And I was like, "Well, you just have to put it with the right mixer." So maybe I just need to mix it up.
That's right.
I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep everyone up on that.
You know what? I bet if you were to play with Judy and Stacy, it would be much.
That
more
might
fun.
be it. There is like I want to say there's like an element of like. It is one of those games where when you play with people who know how it goes, like you do feel like you're like, wait, what's happening? Everything's going by so quickly that you just are like, I guess I'm just doing stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I won. I actually won my last game of ARCs, but I don't know. Part of me feels like I feel like people let me win, so that way I had a more positive experience.
There you go. So it could be at 20.
Yeah, I felt like. I was like, they were too good to let me win like that. Like I had a crazy win. There's no way I should have won that. Okay, number 20, I'm going to say Rise and Fall.
Wow, that is a hot take.
I think Rise and Fall is the one that will most likely rise. I only played it once.
Oh, that's
remember,
right.
I played it that one time. Mm-hmm. I had a really, really good time. I didn't love the way it ended, so it kind of left me like meh. Mm-hmm. And then I just haven't been able to play it since then. Sure. But I think I backed it. I have a copy, and everyone's looking for a copy of this game, and I have it. And so I do want to come back to it. I remember when during the Kickstarter I was really into it, and I was playing there was an app, and I was playing it, and I was really just having the most fun. And there was something about that first play that like left me a little cold, and I wonder if it was just something larger, like circumstantial, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I want to play that again, and I'm sure with like a future play, it will rise. But I also want to say too, this goes back to my other point. The games are so good this year that to be numbered, like all the games going forward are like, I love them all.
Yeah, I know. But shame.
Sorry, shame. Number 19, Joyride.
Haven't played it, but like
Jordan, I played this. Jordan has a copy. Mm-hmm. It's just like it's like Mario Kart. It was fun.
Yeah, no.
Fun forward game. I really enjoyed it a lot. It was super fun. This one, 18. Now this one I could see actually going down. Like as a game like as like Rise and Fall or ARCs goes up, this one would probably go down. But let's go to Japan.
Let's go to Japan. Is that's the itinerary game, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed it. I thought the puzzle was really fun, and I thought the telling your story at the end was really fun. And what was really good about it was that when I played it, I was like, oh, I immediately know who I want to introduce this to outside of Game Brain. And then I did. And then we all had a fun time. We played it twice in a row. And which, by the way, I don't think you should ever do with the game. You should really play it just one time, because you do it twice in a row. It's never as funny the second time. But I loved its take on like I loved its theme and the narrative arc of it, so it was a really, really fun, light game. Actually, not as light as it looks,
but it's probably limited, and that's why
that's the thing. It feels like it might be limited. It might be at a certain point you like, okay, it's a little samey. So, number 17. Craft Wagon Age of Engineering.
Oh, is it because like the wheels are bloodied with the blood of Paul?
Blood of Paul. Paul, who stepped away from SETI to play Craft Wagon Age of Engineering. This is a re-release of Craft Wagon, which came out about 10 years ago or so. Paul, what did you think about Craftwagon Age of Engineering?
I thought it was good. Like, I feel like I have a hard time with games that do like action selection rondel.
Mm-hmm. Like Glenn Moore.
Mm-hmm. Because
designer.
More than a lot of other things, like I feel that it penalizes someone for another person's inexperience or bad play. Mm-hmm. Like someone makes a mistake or a less optimal move, it actually can really benefit another person randomly, like depending on where they are in their cycle. And that always puts a little, for whatever reason, like, if it's on a different track, it's fine. But like on a rondel, it always bugs me a little bit. But I do always love like a bold move. And, Gilson who won, David, he made a bold move.
Crazy move.
And it worked out for him.
It worked out for him also because we were playing chicken.
Yeah.
And like, if we had not been playing chicken, his bold move would not have worked.
So in that way, like, good for him. That said, like, it was good. It was good. I can see there's no notes on the game. This is just all personal preference.
Do you think better or worse than Arcs and Rise and Fall?
I think it's less good than Rise and Fall. I think it's less good than Arcs.
Okay.
I'm not an Arcs cult member, but I do recognize it's like, how should I say it? Like, I guess here's the thing. Is like your best games, or
I think it's your best games, what you feel.
And so the question is like your experience with it, or do you think like, for example, I might not like Indian food, but I can recognize excellence in Indian food.
Yes.
And so I might put, an Indian dish higher than a dish that I've enjoyed.
I think put it in terms of like what you've enjoyed, what resonated with you, and then like tie break is like quality.
Wait. So if that's the case, it still's down.
Yeah.
No. I think Arcs. I've had more fun with Arcs, and I've had more fun with
Rise and Fall.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like if someone said, Ben, you're crazy with this pick being as high, I would get it. Like I would get it. I'm putting it there. I think Craftwagon is like a really great game. It's a great Euro game, and it's a great economic game that you can get kind of like that cutthroat energy that you might get in a longer game like Food Chain Magnate or Smartphone Inc. Or Arkwright. You can get that like competing for customers at a market. You get it in like a 90-minute package. And so I always really like that. And the reason why I ranked it a little, maybe slightly too high, I'm not sure, but I really like it. So it's not too high. I think it's in a good place at number 17 for me, because with that action selection rondel that you talked about, I really, really love the thought that goes into every action you take. Like you have to decide when we talk about an action selection rondel, all the actions are on these little discs and they go in a circle. There's like a trail, and you have to.
Unless you're playing with David.
Yeah, let's play with David. It's like in Shipyard also, where like whoever's in the back of the line is going to choose where they're going to go. So they may go really far ahead, but if they go really far ahead, they have to wait until like
people catch up.
But a lot of times you have the spot that's really far ahead is really important. And so judging how far you can jump and what other people need and what's a reasonable expectation of what everyone, you're really trying to get into people's heads. And I think that's like that's very exciting to me.
No,
so
me too.
It works. It works for me. And I also just really like the tweaks they made to update the game and make it better. But I totally understand why, like if people say it should not be ranked above Arcs. I get it. Okay. I just liked it. Okay. Number 16, Andromeda's Edge.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Why? Wow. Yeah. Wow.
I'm surprised it even ranked. I didn't know how.
Yeah. I thought it was super fun.
I mean, like you won.
I did win.
Degenerate strategy.
I had a very degenerate strategy. I don't think we've talked about the game since we played it. Yeah. Do you want to tell everyone about like what Andromeda's Edge was all about in our session?
So, Andromeda's Edge is basically like a space game where you're trying to expand, your ultimately what it comes down to is up some tracks. That's the big scores. But like it's any hexy space game where you're trying to do some area control and to blah blah blah. Action selection. It's all when you see it, you get it. The issue.
Yeah.
The issue is not that. The issue that makes it fun is that it forces people to interact in a way that, how should I say in the best way, that causes some great friction. Like, for example, Jordan and I, surprise, got into conflict.
You guys should never have sat right next to each other.
It wasn't even a matter of that. Like one of the things that, like, everyone has an asymmetric power. Jordan's was like, oh, if you fight me, regardless of whether I win or lose, I go up the track. Jordan
is so known in our group for being like an aggressive player that he did the whole like, no, I'm going to be, look, I'm not going to be an aggressor. I'm going to be the one that actually, if you aggress me, I'm going to do well. So then he was actually inserting himself into fights just so he would lose. So then everyone was trying to get away from Jordan. So usually we're trying to get away from him because he's an aggressor and he's going to like attack. And this time it was more like, ugh.
Like little brother syndrome.
Yeah. It was like he had the little brother aliens.
And so, but and so like those interactions were interesting and fun. Like I had a little note about the map being a little too cramped, but like you put planets out, you start building like monuments and like cities, and it's all, like if you've played any kind of space game before, you'll recognize certain elements. Yeah. And that's fine. I would say I'm surprised it rated so high.
Surprised by that it rated so high for me?
Yeah.
Why are you surprised by that?
Because like I would have thought Rise and Fall would have been higher, or like when I think of like of space games, Andromeda's Edge or Arcs, I think a lot of people will go, well, I think Arcs is the better game.
Arcs, I would say Arcs is probably the better design game.
Sure,
it is. It is a very intelligent design. I think the card play in Arcs is very, very smart. And the way there's like this thing with the resources, there's a lot of really smart stuff in there. There is card play in Arcs. It doesn't feel as chaotic. I think actually, so Andromeda's Edge, I did not think I was going to like it. I was like,
I didn't think you were going to like it.
I was like, I'm going to play this because I'm really in a mindset of like try these 2024 games and people really like it. And Matt has a copy, and we started playing it, and I just was having the best time. I liked it so much that I actually thought it was going to wind up being in my top 10, and I thought it was going to be like at number 6 or 7.
Wow.
I had so much fun with it. I was having just the best time.
Yeah,
but in the end, though, it did wind up being very swingy with those cards. There were like moments where it was like, okay, as fun as this is, like it is kind of like, it did kind of cross that line into chaos a little bit. And I had fun with that chaos. I thought it was, and again, the disclaimer is I'm putting Andromeda's Edge at number 16.
One play.
Like this was, talk about swinginess. One moment it was at number 6 or 7 on my list, and then I was like, a heartbeat later, it's number 16 because there's just infinitesimal differences between these games for me right now.
I think.
And I was very happy with my victory. I'm not going to lie.
It was so. Here's what wound up happening at the end. Which by
the way, I didn't think I was going to win.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So this is 2000. It was first year, right? Second of the year?
No, it was right before the end of the. It was like
no. It was the 31st. No, it was after. Was the last? This was the last game of the year.
Oh no, you're right. It was like
the second.
It was like January 2nd.
So what was funny is like there's this point where it's me and Jordan, and it looks like we're going to win. Just so you know, Ben has already won. No one knows it because it's of his bullshit like scoring for his faction. But he knows.
I know. I thought I was more in the mix than people thought I was, but I did not think I actually had won.
And so Jordan and I are like, we're spending a long time, like fighting over like a point, 2 points. Like
this is true.
And Jordan keeps on pressing me. Yeah. And then and then it's Jordan's turn, and like we give him crap for like money take back.
He wants to do a big take back at the end of the game.
It doesn't matter. Anyway, so Jordan beats me by 1 point, but Ben beats us by 20 points.
And I was all the way behind. I was behind everyone. I was second to last almost the entire game. And many times I was actually in last place. But what was so great was when we were learning the game, Matt is showing all the different tracks and he says, oh, and this track is like the economic track or something. And if you get to this point on the track, all your resources are worth 1 point. And if you get to this point, they're all worth 2 points. And if you don't go with those, they're all worth 0. So if at the end of the game, you're at this point here, knowing that you can get this many resources, this could be an easy 60 to 70 points. So I had a very aggressive faction called like
it's Pirates.
The Pirates of Nightmare Cove.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna be aggressive. I was like, there's a lot of sharks in this game today. I can't be a turtle today. I'm gonna jump into the mix. So, but like my faction also, like I got some benefits on that good track, and so I was the only one going up it. And at a certain point, I thought to myself, oh, no one else
understands.
Like this was highlighted in the rules. Like Matt stopped everything to say you can get 60 to 70 points here, and I'm the one who's paying attention to it.
Oh well. Number 6. Number 16.
Listen, even if I had lost, I thought it was super, super, super fun, but it did feel like a little chaotic.
Like for me, I really liked the game. I went in and going, oh, I understand the game completely now. There's no more nuance in the game other than playing with people. So now I would just play it with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only restriction. I don't think there's anything left to discover in the play. Now it's only in the interaction. And
maybe not with 5 players. I didn't really have a problem with 5 players, but other people at the table seemed to be really having. They were really unhappy with the player count. Sorry, by the way, the heat came on. It's boiling in here, and I just lowered it in case if anyone hears us like melting on the podcast. That's why. Okay, number 15. Now I think you know how much I like this game, so the fact that it's at 15 should tell you something about the games. Flip 7.
Flip 7.
Yeah. Last year, this would have been like a top 10 game. This probably would have been like number 5 or 6 last year. But this year, it's all the way down at 15. Have you played Flip 7?
Nope.
Oh, Flip 7 is it's a great, it could be a party game. It's just a light game. It's for anyone can play it. It's just straight up push your luck. That's all it is. And it does it great. It's every group I've played it with, it's been loud cheers, lots of laughter. It's like this is almost the like lightweight party game for me of the year, but it's not the lightweight party game.
That would be number 3 or something. I don't know.
Could be number 3, but it's not number 15. But Flip 7's excellent, so everyone should. I think it's like a game that everyone should have. Number 14, Fromage.
Fromage, okay.
Really like Fromage.
Did you play it like last year?
I did. I played it with Matt and Jordan.
Well, like on the 31st or 30th or something like that? Or was it this year?
I played it I don't know. I played it, it was in December.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I like it. I think that one could go up. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a lot more there than meets the eye, but I've only played it once. So 14 it is.
14 it is.
Number 13.
Okay, we're coming to the last.
I know, we're getting to the end of it.
That's 13 and 12, 11. Here we go.
13.
Lucky Taylor Swift.
Lucky Taylor Swift. Cascadero. I think this will be in a lot of people's top 10s in our group.
Interesting. I am not a person who likes Cascadero.
Oh, okay.
I just think it reminds me a little bit like, was it Through the Desert? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, I like Through the Desert more.
That's okay. I just think it was really smart. I thought it was like really
it's a smart game.
Clean design, and I greatly enjoyed it. I thought it was like very intense, and I thought it was great.
Yeah,
I thought it was great in its simplicity. But I can see, like, I was debating, is Fromage going to be number 13 and Cascadero is number 14? Like, I think the Cascadero, Fromage, and Flip 7 trio could wind up rearranging itself a little bit, because Flip 7 I've gotten the most plays of, and it has like a broader appeal, and it's just pure fun. Fromage feels innovative and also is the most charming of the 3. And then Cascadero, though, has like that kind of like clean classic feel to it. So
yeah, I think for me, like I always feel like I'm not invested in it. That's what it comes like. I go, okay, I'm putting my horses. They're the horses, right?
Yeah.
And
abstract games can sometimes be like that.
And I go, I know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing it well.
Yeah.
But like I see it, and I'm just not invested in it. For some reason, I'm just not in the game.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly sure why.
Yeah. I get that. That might be a reason why it may drop for me, because I do have a problem with abstract games of having that disconnect.
Sure.
I think this is a more successful one for me, but that can happen. Number 12, second to last one before the top 10.
Yeah.
Number 12, I loved this game. It makes me so sad that it's not in my top 10.
Well, you really like gatekeeping that top 10.
My top 10, honestly, I think my top 10 is excellent.
Great.
Like the games in my top 10, there's one that maybe shouldn't be. Maybe that one that you were thinking might be at number 3. Maybe that one should not be in my top 10. But also, it's kind of like the party game of the year. It's so good. It has to be top 10. But number 12, regrettably, not. Endeavor Deep Sea.
Endeavor. I haven't played it, so I can't give real commentary. But I find that acceptable.
No shame.
I don't know anything about the game aside from like it's in the sea.
Well,
the deep sea apparently.
It is. I played this once. I had so much fun with it, and I love the theme. I love the art. You're exploring the deep sea. I love that they took a problematic theme of colonialism and turned it into deep sea exploring. That's fun. I enjoyed the action selection. I really enjoyed so much of it. I think that like sometimes when you're trying to just find like what's the difference between a number 12 game and a number 8 game or whatever, sometimes it's like the stickiness, how much does it stay in your brain? Mm-hmm. And as much fun as I had with it, it wasn't really thinking about it too much afterwards. But that does not take away from the fact that I adored it, and I still may buy it. I don't own it, but I really, really, really liked Endeavor Deep Sea.
It's really good that like you're getting to the point now where it's for your games at least on your list, like you're going like, oh, it's perfect, no notes, and yet like the things that it's some X factor that like is almost not controllable.
Yeah, like I think there's a part of me that feels like numbers 1 through 15. Like depending on my mood, they could all be rearranged. Sure. Like there's a world in which Flip 7 makes the top 10 or like Fromage, etc.
Sure.
But as of right now, where I'm locking it in, Endeavor Deep Sea, number 12.
Yeah. Okay. Here it is. The first honorable mention.
Well, this is crazy. This game was my number 10 game.
I love it.
It was my number 10, and it definitely has the potential to go up. It might go up about 4 or 5 points.
Ooh.
I only played it once, and I only played it at 2-player. But it dropped to number 11 merely because the former number 11 game had an ascent upon a second play. And so it went up. Everything else had to shift down. But this one, like instinctually, I was like, this one has to be in my top 10. But now that's why I kind of want to take the party game out of the top 10, because I feel like this game has to be there.
My response is like, but can you?
But here's the thing. I'm sure we'll do like a proper finalized top 10 in like March or something. But right now, at the end of the year, at the end of 2024, my number 11 game is Salt Fjord.
Okay.
Salt Fjord is the reimplementation of Santa Maria. Mm-hmm. Did you ever play that?
I did not. Maybe I did. I don't know. What happened to Santa Maria?
It's this excellent Euro game with a terrible theme, wherein you have like a grid and you build buildings onto the grid, and you can draft dice, and the dice that you draft lets you activate different rows or columns of the grid. So it's like the Shackleton base thing where you say like, hey, well, I want to get that die while I can because it may not be there in a turn or two. But if I use that die to activate this row of buildings, I don't have enough buildings on there to get the full value of this activation. So instead, let me build buildings first and then get them on to my board so I can activate them. But by the time you're done building the buildings, you may not have the die anymore. And it's like a delicious, excellent tension. And Salt Fjord did a great job in re-implementing it. I think Salt Fjord is amazing. They took away 3 areas or like 2 areas of interaction I really liked. And I felt like they should not have taken those away. But I also feel like, maybe on like a second or third play, I will be able to divorce myself of what the game was and just enjoy the game for what it is. And because I did think Saltfjord was pretty amazing.
Great.
It was really a really, really thinky puzzle, and the setting, Norway. Love that.
Norway. I wonder do you know anyone who's going to go to Norway this year?
I'm going to go to Norway.
What? Really?
Yeah. So I better start liking Saltfjord more.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I got to get ready for my Norwegian trip.
Yeah, no. I love it.
I know.
So make Norwegian jam or something.
Maybe. Or I'm going to have herring. I know I'm having a herring day.
Love it.
Norwegian herring. I'm going to go cook some. It's a culinary trip, which is very exciting. It's like taking Saltfjord and mixing it with fromage. And I am going to have the Norwegian brown cheese. I'm very excited for that.
Like you're living it.
I am. I hate not being able to tell what my top 10 is. I'm so excited to share it, but needless to say, I have to. My top 10. Oh, what I will say this. I'm going to say this about to tie it all the way back into the top of the show about these wildfires. So with my top 4 games of the year, I've been having a lot of debate between my number 1 and number 2.
Okay.
And my number 3 and my number 4. So my 1 and 2 have been going back and forth, and my 3 and 4 have been going back and forth. And last week, there was a moment where a wildfire broke out here in Hollywood, and the evacuation zone was very close to where I live. And we decided, let's just get out of here. I don't want to wait for it to become the evacuation zone. And then there's like traffic and whatever. So we already had a bag packed because you just never know.
Go bag.
A go bag. But since we didn't have to evacuate just yet, and we already had the go bag, I was like, well, we can pack up some other stuff. And I was like, well, I'm not going to bring board games. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to, that's, you know what, Ben, like now is not the time to be thinking about board games. Think about like what you really need. Get the photo albums and everything. So I packed up the photo albums and I packed up the essentials. And then I thought, I mean, maybe I could just take like 3 games, right? And so I was like, okay, what games am I going to take? And I was concerned about games that might be difficult to get. And I also wanted games that would have like a variety of play in case like I had to play these games a lot. And so based on the first game I grabbed, that clarified, okay, so between 1 and 2, this is my number 1. And then I immediately took my number 2. I was like, but I took number 1 first, because for a moment I was just going to take that game. I was like, this is the only game. I was like, well, maybe I'll take that game too. And then for my number 3 game, I was like, I grabbed my number 3 game. So between number 3 and 4, I grabbed one of those 2, and that became my number 3 game. So now, because of the wildfires, I'm not gonna say it's a silver lining, but it is
you got some clarity.
I got clarity about my top 3 games of the year. Which I don't know. Wow. I don't know.
Totally worth it.
I don't know if people want to hear that story right now or not. But
not everyone.
I was just like laughing to myself, like I am so ridiculous, and I'm so ridiculous that this is. But it was sort of one of those hypothetical moments of like if you have to grab one game.
No, like it happens all the time. It's actually in Squid Game 4. Like,
but I acknowledge the privilege in that I had time to choose something, and that I also got to come back here. So again, do help out Drew. Go check out the GoFundMe, because we're sitting here talking about ranking games, and it's in the larger scheme of life not that important. What's more important is having a roof over your head and to recover from this huge disaster. So go check out the GoFundMe. Thanks for listening, everyone. You have been listening to Game Brain, produced and edited by Matthew Robinson, Tom Donnelly, Trey Alsop, and Ben Mandelker. Special thanks to Daedalus for our incredible music. More on Daedalus at GameBrainPod.com. And thanks to Edamar Peleg for our incredible graphics. Be sure to check him out on Instagram at Kerbaloni, or on his website, kerbaloni.com. You can reach us by email at contact@GameBrainPod.com. Thanks for listening, and go play some games with friends, or make some friends with games.